All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So look, yesterday the Chiefs were pretty much in the news all day, and rightfully so. They did something, it shocked everybody, right? They did something so out of the blue, it caught a lot of people off guard, right? Fans across the world were like, what? Wait, what did Kansas City just do? They went out and they released both of their starting tackles, right? Eric Fisher at left tackle, former #1 overall pick back in 2013. And then, of course, Mitchell Schwartz, ex-Cleveland Brown, on the right side. And we all know the real reason why both of these guys got released. It's not because they're bad players or, the injuries are going to be affecting them long term or that they're, not producing. It's not like that at all. It's just because of the salary cap number. It's dropping. We're seeing that with other teams out there. They're trying to get rid of big contracts. They're releasing better, bigger name players just to clear cap space. So this whole cap situation really threw a wrench into, I feel like into all 32 teams out there. So luckily for the New York Jets, we have so much cap space already going into free agency. So it's not that big of a deal. I've seen some, fans and a couple of people like kind of complained about it, and rightfully so. We do have less money to spend, but at the end of the day, we're in the New York Jets are in such a better position than half the league out there. It's crazy. It's really, really crazy. So the Jets have their opportunities this season, which leads me to the point of this video. Should the New York Jets try to pursue Mitchell Schwartz, the former right tackle of the Kansas City Chiefs? Because you're looking at what Mekhi Becton's doing on the left side. It's fantastic. Fits the system. He's just dominant. I would say he's one of the best the best left tackles in the league, period, right now, going into his sophomore season, year number 2. And we just got to keep him there, right? Let him grow, let him dominate, and continue to work at that position. But on the right side, Joe Douglas brought in his guy last offseason, George Fant, from the Seattle Seahawks. And at the time, that signing wasn't well received. It didn't really make a lot of sense in a lot of people's eyes, especially with guys like Jack Conklin hitting the free agency market. Joe Douglas opted for the cheaper contract in George Fant. It was kind of one of those signings where it was like, trust me, I know what I'm doing. I believe in George Fant, because he was a backup in Seattle, like kind of a rotational tackle, like a swing tackle with versatility, played on both sides. But Joe Douglas handed out a 3-year contract and essentially paid him starting right tackle money, like in the $20 million range. So at the time, people were scratching their heads like, oh my gosh, is this the right move? But Fant showed up to New York, won the starting right tackle position, and did pretty well this past season. Like, we can't, as much as he's not the big name, he's not Jack Conklin, he's not Mitchell Schwartz or anything like that, we have to give credit where it's due. And George Fant, I thought, played pretty well. Now, he missed some time, of course, but we're looking at the situation now, moving forward. Could Mitchell Schwartz be an option? Because Schwartz wouldn't be just a little upgrade or, oh yeah, let's get Mitchell Schwartz in the building and maybe he would be a little bit better. Not at all. Not at all. Mitchell Schwartz is a top 3 right tackle, hands down. Period. You can make an argument that he is the best right tackle in the entire National Football League. So it begs the question, could the Jets pivot here from their original plan, which was Mekhi Becton at left tackle, George Fant at right tackle, at least for the next 3-4 seasons, see how it plays out? Could Joe Douglas abandon that idea and possibly release George Fant and bring in Mitchell Schwartz, pay him a big deal? Now, to kind of give a little bit of context on where Mitchell Schwartz is right now, he's 31 years old, 6'5", 320 pounds. Dominant player. As I said before, from 2012 to 2019, he never missed a game. That's insane. That's absolutely insanity. But last season, he had back problems, I don't know if it was multiple things in the back or one issue with the back, but he missed a lot of time. He only played in 6 games last year. But all in all, Chiefs fans are sad to see him go. And by the way, just a quick little side note here. One of the reasons why I felt like the Chiefs lost in the Super Bowl, why they couldn't produce on offense, was because the Bucs defensive line, the outside linebackers, were just destroying the tackle position. So you would think with both of these guys coming back that they would, be like a priority or like a huge bright spot for the organization moving into next season. But obviously, it's not the case. So Schwartz will be hitting the open market. Ronnie Stanley, arguably top 5. He is a top 5 right tackle in the league right now. He just signed a huge deal, a humongous deal, 5 years, $98 million. All right, so Stanley's younger than Schwartz, but to kind of compare apples to apples here, two really, really good right tackles in the market today, I feel like we're going to have to pay somewhere in that range. Anywhere from like 80 to 90 million if he wants a multi-year contract worth like 3, 4, 5 seasons. I could see that being realistic. And if it does come to a shorter contract, like a 1, 2, possibly a 3-year contract, I think Schwartz will probably ask for anywhere from $17 to $20 million annually at right tackle. Now, does Joe Douglas want to commit to that? Because really the problems on the offensive line last season, as we all know, it was from the interior. It wasn't really because Fant was horrible and Mekhi Becton was experiencing a bunch of growing pains. That's going to be the question. Will Joe Douglas pull the trigger? And we've heard some recent rumors, some rumblings that Joe Douglas will be spending some money this offseason. That's that's encouraging. That's exciting for Jets fans, because last year was the teardown. This year's year 1 of the rebuild. So let's see what we can do. We have a multitude of draft picks. We have excess cap space. How does Joe Douglas want to attack this thing? I'm hoping that it's going to be the anti-2020, where he refused to go after big names. He only wanted to, he was kind of searching for these 1-year contracts with Brashad Perryman, with Brian Poole, and frankly, penny pinched the entire Robbie Anderson situation. So I'm hoping it's the opposite of that, where we actually start really infusing this team with talent. That was one of the main issues last year. Of course, we had a bunch, but lack of talent was definitely there. So Mitchell Schwartz, what would it take to bring him in? Obviously, it would take a huge contract. So you're looking at George Fant's number. He's a $9.8 million cap hit for this upcoming season. That's kind of high, but it's reasonable, right? For what he showed last year, I think 9.8 is maybe a tad bit too high, but at the end of the day, it's not that big of a deal, especially considering where the Jets are at financially. If the Jets were to cut Fant, they would save $7.8 million. So you could look at that as a potential pivot, right? Where you can pivot off of George Fant, save some money in the process, and now you're bringing Mitchell Schwartz in, more of a veteran right tackle. So could the Jets do this? I don't know. It's up to Joe Douglas. We'll see. I feel like it's an interesting question. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section if you think this should be done. Again, Fant played pretty well last year, but if you have the opportunity to go out and land one of the best right tackles in the entire league, a guy who's pretty much durable, pretty consistent, a guy who's just put together a really, really solid NFL career, I don't feel like you can pass that up. I don't think you can just look the other way. I personally, I would explore it. I would see what's up. It wouldn't be my first order of business. I would actually try to iron something out within the next 2 days before free agency starts, because again, I do feel like the interior of the offensive line, bringing in Joe Thuney, bringing in one of these guards, like a Zeitler, like a Norwell, something like that, is the top priority. Lindsley from Green Bay, center. That is the top priority for me personally. It could be Mitchell Schwartz now that he's off the board. For Joe, we'll see. I don't know. But I would try to negotiate something with Schwartz in the meantime. But once free agency starts, if he's still not budging, you have George Fant there at right tackle. You're paying him a solid amount. We saw solid production last year. It's not the end of the world if we don't bring Mitchell Schwartz in. It is a big deal if we can't land any help on the interior and we have to rely on either rookies in the draft or what we had last year. That would be a major, major issue. So I'll leave it there. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Should the Jets go out and pursue Mitchell Schwartz? 31 years old. I really do feel like Schwartz has a lot of football left in the tank. Now he is coming off of a back injury. I do have to say that. But I don't know. If the Jets were to bring in Mitchell Schwartz, I would be extremely, extremely excited. So thanks so much for watching. And as always, go Jets.